Welcome back, you lovely people. Second matchup today will be our first elimination match. So the stakes are rising for these aspiring champions. So we're here joined by Mitch and Matt, and we will be talking about the upcoming two teams. A lot of new faces are going to be on the server. Some you might not be super familiar with. If we're looking at A-Square Tengu, our first team here, I feel like there's a lot of enigmas. Like, some might be familiar with their DPS player, Kabe. He did also have a fantastic answer in a questionnaire that we send out to all the players to, get to know them a little bit. He did say that he works a 45-hour per week job, and it's really hard to play Overwatch.
It's grind.
Yeah, I was also like doing some quick math there. He called his teammates a bunch of randoms, but has assured us that they have beat notable teams in the past. XD.
I like it.
Again, I mean, this team is comes through a very treacherous Swiss stage to get here, right? Obviously coming at the 16th seed, so we definitely expect them, especially in a game like this, going up against like a team that's also lesser known to some degree, that does have some known names. We're looking for them to deliver because this is last chance, right? This is a GSL group, so you lose once, okay, lose twice, that's it, you're out, no money, like Matt pointed out.
It's the important part. No money. A few points, though. I believe there's like 5 points or something on the line.
Good points.
Yeah,
feed you
some circuit points.
Points pay the bills.
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried.
I mean, potentially in the future, if you have points and you get on to a different
classroom
team,
of the elite, right? Points only in that show and nowhere else.
Fine.
What
Fine.
Don't worry about it, Matt.
Don't worry.
Matt's going to look up the Wikipedia entry for Classroom of the Elite and read it out. Actually,
That's funny.
Actually.
Yeah, well, but yeah, so like A-Square Tengu, I mean, this is their stage to make a name for themselves. I'm interested to see what they bring on the server. On the other side, of course, still lots of new faces, but also a few familiar ones. Yes, it is him. It's the one and only Doge.
Doge.
Now the Doge from his Outlaws. I think most recently we did see him playing for Twisted Mind. Is that possible? I think so.
Yeah. He was on EXO as well for a brief stint. Yeah.
Sharp as well was.
Sharp, we know. Yeah.
Yeah. He was on the Atlanta Reign, right?
That's right. He was a teammate of mine.
Yes. I mean,
yes, I remember when. So he was on the Atlanta Reign.
Man, we really played out the whole beat one of their players in a ridiculous challenge and join their team thing, didn't we? We did that quite a few times. Yeah, like Josh did that, so we did that. Doge obviously joined the Houston Outlaws back in 22 with Lep, right? That was that sort of those additions that we're looking to make, and didn't really sort of find like the most stable of role for Doge. It was sort of Lep probably got more gameplay in the end, but again, called up to the top level of Overwatch to deliver. Sharp, I mean, Johnny, how much does Johnny love this guy? I mean, Johnny loves this guy so much. And I think what sort of brought Sharp his degree of notoriety or fame, if you like, was the Tracer play. Really very good player. Obviously, he's represented Sweden in the World Cup at times as well. Because before being on the Reign, he also played for Team Envy in Contenders. So actually a pretty long career for someone that's only like 22, I think, at the moment. So I'm glad to see Sharp here. This is definitely the kind of stage where he can shine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good meta for Sharp here, for sure. I'm just interested to see how this team is going to come together. I do love that, both of these teams have a really great opportunity, since it's not one like big all-star studded lineup going up against the quote-unquote no-names. I think both of them have a realistic chance here to come out on top. So guys, walk us through the map picks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, Matt, I'm the play-by-play guy, so I don't know why you're talking right now. You talk when I tell you.
Well, no, I'm the new play-by-play guy here.
Oh, really? You might have been the highest seed in our fake map pick, bro, but listen, when Daddy's talking, all right?
That was real. Well, actually, hold on. That was not real, because if it was real, I would have 3-0'd you. There was no potential to reverse.
If it was real, I would have been top seed. It would have picked my map first, but that's fine.
Where I also think you're going to see these teams play like different compositions. Like, I don't think like they're going to play kind of like what we've seen from maybe some of the teams who have had like full rosters of OWL players, right? And gone in different directions, where Dip primarily plays like Echo Tracer, and then Sharp just plays like Tracer, right? So you expect them to kind of build that composition around them, where A-Square Tengu, they're actually going to have the Cassidy in the mix here.
All right, I'm here for it. Here's Doge with that Doomfist. And again, we're seeing this sort of Cassidy composition come out often paired with the Zarya here, but Doge and Sharp have already made their points very clear. The start of this Nu.age, I think we're calling him right. French for cloud, as I already knew because I'm so worldly and well-traveled. We'll start pretty comfortably here.
I had to tell you that information, but sure.
The fact that you would ever position yourself as remotely, like, worldly is laughable to me.
What?
You heard me.
Just mean.
You heard me. Oh, man. Are we going to go with Zarya and Joya? Is that... we feel like that's the way to go? Yeah. All right. I like Zarya and Joya. Yes, listen. That's your account name. That's what you get. Carbe able to find Dip, though, at the start of this fight. And Sharp already wanting to harry Carbe to some degree here, but that's a tough job. Doge absolutely knocking heads together on this Doom. And, okay, Natsuki actually able to capitalize on Sharp taking Carbe's attention away.
And for those wondering, that Zarya and Joya, that is I'm Scared. 22.
Zarya and Joya.
So, or I'm Scared, sure. Yeah. I also think you see the fast play from nice pulse bomb there. They're gonna get rid of I'm Scared, but I think the one thing where you look at you look at two different teams, right? And I think the way that you can kind of like give yourself a huge distinct advantage, like when you feel like you have potentially like a talent and cohesion advantage, is to play fast, right? Like I think teams that are well coordinated and that can play fast, like a really frantic pace, can make even some other teams look really discombobulated, because you kind of like just amp up the pace of play right there. I mean, Kate did a nice shot there on the Natsuki. So you start off with a fight, potential win, but that's going to be a duplicate of the Ramatra here as Dip just gets in the mix. But I think if you're Nu.age, just playing with that faster pace is going to be beneficial for you throughout the course of the series.
Annihilation, well, it doesn't really find any eliminations. Pretty powerful in that sort of close quarter fight, but I think in the meantime, Nilu, Arclight as he's known in game here, actually backcapped, so that's pretty big for A-Square Tengu. Nu.age really commit very heavily to playing in that side room off the duplicate of the Ramatra here, but eventually the fight has to drift back towards the point. Carbe getting picked off once more. Natsuki again, able to take down a Cassidy, key player in this fight to remove. Nilu at least able to trade that kill out, but Zarya and Joya, now I'm Scared.
Doge on Doom, he's playing a completely different game than everybody else. I mean, he feels like he is like they have like the healing reduction of the DPS passive. He's just going in, just blocking, gaining shields. Does not matter to him whatsoever. That time picks up fight's extended. Picks up almost 4 kills all throughout. Nice pulse bomb stick from Sharp there on the Lucio. Very difficult to track down. Nu.age getting close to a first point.
I mean, that damage reduction is pretty important when, it counters out the healing reduction of the DPS passive pretty comfortably, so it kind of gives Doom like an sort of unspoken advantage, I guess, over some other tanks that don't necessarily have that built in. Doge here falls in the power block, and that's enough of a window for Carbe to get picked off, and A-Square Tengu no closer to capturing this point. They lose that player early, pushing into Nu.age's setup, and oh my goodness, Doge, yeah, he makes a flourish as he appears on the point. That's a 3-player sound barrier here for KZR, hoping maybe to catch Natsuki unaware and send him over the edge of the map here, but that is not looking likely. That's a decent one, but Doge has the swift step, gets back into the fray here. A Sombra switch for Carbe, maybe just to return to the fight as quickly as possible. But we have another duplicated Ramatra here, and this time it's going to be too much for A-Square Tengu.
Yeah, it's really difficult because the Cassidy is the one that needs to deal with some of these heroes, right? Like the Cassidy deals with an Echo, a Tracer, a Doomfist. They're just collapsing on Akabe. They're really not giving him much help at staying alive. And then once he's dead, it's like, okay, well, we're not worried about any of our flankers dying, right? Like, let's just rotate back to the point. And just crazy mobility, players flying everywhere, and that's where Nu.age is able to take it.
A-Square Tengu also boasts a victory against Nu.age's roster sort of midway through last year. So, they're pretty happy about that. They sort of include that in their questionnaire. Are we beating these guys? I'm like, how long ago? 9 months? Oh, cool. All right. Well, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's like Reinforced still talking about beating people in the beta.
I mean, it's not as bad as Slasher. Slasher has to remind everybody he played on that early FaZe Clan roster. He plays Zenbot. He has to let you know. I'm like, man,
that was awesome. I remember watching
brother, you've got to let it go. That was literally 7 years ago. Holy moly.
Him /E, hold on to that.
I mean, no, all we do is like,
don't let him take our gaming accomplishments away.
Oh my goodness. Get some new material, brother! Kabe here. Staving off Dip to some degree. Nice rocket punch there is going to make it a little bit harder for the Cassidy to push forward here, but eventually there's a window.
But look at that though. You keep the Cassidy alive, right? You put some big damage down on the Doge, and then you got to follow up and you get a kill off of it, right? So I think it's really about, can you keep Kabe alive? I think that's a huge portion of this game for A-Square Tengu.
Playing from that side room there with multiple layers of protection and healing for the Cassidy, making Doge maybe regret that engagement, but that's where he's going to have to go once more if he wants to once again threaten the positioning of that very strong mid to long range DPS.
I think they're trying to drag them onto the point, yeah.
I don't really know if it's working. They'll just send I'm scared there. Kabe will not be moved from that side room position. Dip needs to drop in. Nicely done. Sticky Bombs almost claim the Cassidy kill. Kabe's still alive somehow. Eliosi though, not nearly as lucky here. And this is about to get out of hand once more. That focusing beams, a lot of low health targets. Dip licking his lips. Yeah, never going to say that phrase again.
You get a few players weak. Kabe actually stays alive there. They do a decent job trying to keep him up. But once some of those targets get weak, then you fly in the Echo with the focusing beam, and like, who do you even try and take down, right? Are you looking at the Echo, the Tracers in your backline? Doomfist is so disruptive. It's just a really nasty comp to have to deal with.
Sharp and Arclight taking note of each other's position there. Kabe pretty aggressively positioned Deadeye here. Dip is in duplicate. Ramatra and Doom available right now for Nu.age. It's going to be a Kitsune rush here in a very small enclosed room, and that Annihilation is scary. It's going to be a sound barrier for KZR. Dip going to be knocked out of Dupe. Focusing beam though finds its mark. Eventually Kabe's brought down. Arguably the centerpiece for this A-Square Tengu composition. In the meantime, Nu.age still control the point.
Yeah, they go with that Annihilation on the duplicate is like nasty, right? You're just getting free damage on everybody in like an AoE. You come out of it, find the lowest target, focusing beam them down. It's gonna be another fight win here for Nu.age. As Doge has a Meteor Strike, more of a get out of jail free thing. Okay, I thought we were gonna see some Traub, but back on the Cassidy.
I guess it doesn't feel amazing here. Doesn't necessarily answer the threat the Dip currently is presenting. Doge with a Meteor Strike, rather. There's a little bit more of a buffer there in case he wants to play a bit more aggressively. Sharp, I'm sure, would be more than happy to combine. Look at that, not even needed. Sharp really just an onlooker there as Kabe again gets blown to smithereens here. This Cassidy is starting to slow down now, while A-Square Tengu are not in control of the point. Here comes Doge, Meteor Strike in, forces that fade. Sees the Annihilation, Owen's going to need to rotate some cooldowns to get out of it, but he will be trapped. The entirety of A-Square Tengu makes sure he's held in place. His ultimate, man, it's pretty busted.
Oh, well, here we go. We may see another one here as Dip just trying to build up this Annihilation here.
Oh, he's
gonna
in
get
such
it now.
a good spot. There's no way Kabe's getting away. He does, only just, dude. Dip knocked out a Dupe again.
Oh, that was the coolest.
The fadeaway stickies. That's brutal. I don't know how you come back into this now. You'll hope for a sound barrier in the next few seconds, but that seems like a forlorn hope, especially with Kabe again getting absolutely rinsed by Dip. Getting rolled by a guy called Dip can't feel good, especially not when it happens every time you get into a fight.
Unlucky. Yeah, it's really difficult to kind of keep them, keep Kabe alive, right? Where at one point he actually just gets like punched by the Doom. I think it's like a power punch, so he gets the extra stun. You can kind of see it on the top of the UI, gets the stun, and then a focusing beam instantly right into him. I mean, just insta-killed. Nothing you could really do there to be able to keep him alive. Maybe there's something that A-Square Tengu could do to like even... they kind of floated the Torb out there, right? Do you even try and slow it down even more? Can you play Cassidy with Torb and like maybe we play like something like really counter dive, like a Sigma, or I don't really know, right? When you're playing against a team that's playing at such a fast pace.
We know why Cassidy is quite powerful against the Doom. I think the hindrance of Mag Grenade is still a really important component of answering that mobility and threat that Doom can generate. Doge didn't really seem to care though. I think most of that map he was just doing his own thing.
We literally just saw Twisted Minds the other day just play Zarya with the Cassidy, right? They dive in and collapse on him. You have 2 bubbles to keep the Cassidy alive, plus the healing, right? And then the fully charged Zarya is like awesome against the Doom and whatnot. Like there's some options, right? I think, you just probably need to make some changes.
Yeah, and if they try and play Winston against you, then you just Twitch Ramatra, like we saw from Twisted Minds as well. It has to be answered, right? You could try and go for like a longer range threat here, to sort of deal with that Doomfist. But again, very, very difficult for A-Square Tengu to have an answer to that. Nu.age looked really good. Also, like the Echo. I mean, in theory, Cassidy should be a decent answer to Doom and Echo, but at the same time, it's still an issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, Doom, Tracer, Echo at the same time, right? With like Lucio in the mix, like getting everybody's speed and in there,
I don't hate the tall but Cassidy idea. I don't hate it.
You can't just select Cassidy and be like, all right, we're good. Like there's got to be a little bit more there, which Twisted Minds, I thought that comp was awesome yesterday with like having the Zarya in the mix. Like if they're going to play dive, really, protect that Cassidy at all costs. And it's probably a bit easier when you got Quartz on your side, right? But still, you can allow them to make plays.
Wouldn't shock me here if we have this Ramatra look from A-Square Tengu. It's a pretty popular defensive option as well, especially if you don't know what tank is going to get played into you. However, Nu.age come out here with another Doomfist composition, then we're back to square one for A-Square Tengu in terms of trying to find a way to answer that. It'll be an early peek from Dip here. That is likely all that he'll be showing us on this tour. And Sharp also some great pulse bombs there over the course of Lijiang Tower. Clearly hasn't missed a beat these last few years.
Dip just looking maybe for a pick here at the start, and then now going to go back to the Echo. So no changes really on both sides. Buddy playing the Kariko here this time, so see how that plays out. Where I like the Kariko because you can just, the ability to just TP in and get right in with your dive is.
You're through the choke. You just got through the choke. You just dodged, dipped, dive and dozed straight on towards the fire truck here.
Doom is playing a different game.
Yep.
Right there, just being able to that is damage coming down his way. That is, a hindrance, and he's still able to find the kill. It actually may kind of have, Nu.age push kind of fall apart, right? You need Doge in the mix to really, be that disruptor. So we're just going to kind of stall out here for a little bit, but he's right back in.
Yeah, and with how low Arclight was there, this is a full-scale retreat. Have a probing mag grenade, I'll call it. Basically ignored by Dip as he can now set up in a really frustrating position on the ledge here. But again, Dip does need some help. He needs some space creator on the point, otherwise he cannot stay there. Not with the Vortex thrown in. Kabe eventually able to pick off. Yes, I really would have liked to have seen Nu.age take space on the point there and make it hard for Kabe just to get a free kill on the Echo. And that might really unravel things for Nu.age here.
You see when they actually are able to protect Kabe and keep him alive, he's actually able to find these kills, right? It's just sometimes when that collapse is just too strong, watching his POV, you'd be like, oh man, how do you even play the game, right? There's so much stuff happening on his screen. But when they're able to kind of give him a little bit more time, he's able to come up with some kills. So 2 minutes on the clock here. Nu.age coming up on some ults. This will be a Deadeye here, trying to get Kabe in position.
Speed boost there as well. Shuttling Kabe forward. This could be dangerous though. They've exposed the Cassidy, and here comes the Kitsune rush. Yep, nicely done by Nu.age here. Know that A-Square Tengu's trying to push up on them here. So they wait for the Kiriko ultimate and then overrun them. Still, Dip somehow gets taken down by a wayward right hook. Doge is going to be at the door this time, and again, this time they're creating a lot more space for their players playing further back off the point. Zaya and Joy to some degree can just ignore that though, push past Doge, but the problem is how do you help your backline now, which is currently being eviscerated by Nu.age. Yeah, no idea.
Makes it out onto the, I'm scared makes it out onto the point, but the rest of his team is kind of gone as we get a Soldier 76 swap here. We'll see if we kind of continue on with the 70s.
No one saw that, Doge. It's fine.
Nah, we didn't.
No one saw that. Again,
back to the castle.
Yeah. I'm scared of no choice but to contest there, but they didn't really have anyone to fight on the point. And then, unfortunately for them, Doge and Dip, Sharp, all ran past them onto the back line of A-Square Tengu, who were already in a bit of an awkward position.
Well, I think it kind of falls apart, right? Where A-Square Tengu, they want to get aggressive with the Deadeye and they try and speed boost him into the room. And after that, the Kitsune rush comes down from Buddy, and then like they don't expect that push to come in right after. Oh, he connects with the bombs to the air. Oh, kills it.
The back line is so low, and there's no healing right now. Oh my goodness, Dip Styles on him. Wins the 1v1, not once but twice there.
Oh, nice recall. They are though.
Oh, this is still dangerous. Kabe very low. Oh, God. Playing Cassie into the Doom is tough, though. Still, once he gets the dive on you, this Annihilation. Barely a footnote in the story of history.
Dude, I mean, we saw Doom, I think, once yesterday with, it was against Twisted Minds, right? And the opposite team played the Doom, and it just did not look very good because, you know, Twisted Minds had a really nice comp with that Zarya and the Cassidy. You're seeing what Doom can do, though, when that's not the case on the other side. I mean, the ultimate disruptor.
Again, if you stick a Doom with the mag grenade late in that power block, it's pretty bad for him. Oh, can't just get on out.
Get here of the Ramatra.
Dip is not dying. Not now, anyway. Annihilation. Again, not paired with anything else, really. So, in the face of all this healing, plus, you know, Neliozu having a coalescence, very, very hard for him to solo, make an impact. So, a minute 55 left to play. Kitsune Rush once more available. That was the ticket to Nu.age actually winning the fight on point A as they really flipped things on its head, and A-Square Tengu did not have anywhere to run.
I think it's also because, you know, A-Square Tengu put themselves in that odd position the last time, right? Kind of like almost moving into the rush, where I think right now, let's see where they decide to play. Is everybody in this low ground here playing inside? Oh, they get pushed out into the rush.
Pulse there. Everyone disperses from it. Dip is in a safe spot, but actually took some incidental damage now. I might need to look for a way back in. Can you make use of this flank angle? There's a little too much healing here. Kabe's going chasing. Nice, Suzu. Brilliant. The grenade does stick. The Kabe, I don't know if that's enough. They really needed the Cassidy in that main fight, not chasing after shadows. And eventually Buddy will bring the Cassidy down.
But getting pushed into that small room against like a Doom comp, and I mean, that is like prime. He's going to start rolling, you know, getting things going with like seismic slams, punches, shields. Like, that is the ideal situation for the Doom to fight in. Seismic slam around the corner. They deal with the Moira here as A-Square Tengu put up a pretty, you know, a better defense there on the second point. So a potential, you know, here with the, you know, the Cassie with these like longer sight lines to maybe get a hold.
You've got a lot of options here as Doom. This high ground. Also sort of wrapping around these corners. Easy punches there. You can see just like that. Look at the damage. That in and of itself forces the sound barrier. Dip here with another duplicate of a Ramatra. Dire Enjoy is going to have to let him farm up much of this free ultimate. Thankfully, this time the damage is good enough to take him out of that duplication before the ultimate is built. But later sound barrier from Nu.age here. Natsuki able to chase Arclight down. Dire Enjoyer seen better days. Their coalescence is important. That's what buys the time for this annihilation, and then a full disengage from Nu.age.
Yeah, just really good mobility, right? So you can disengage from that annihilation, but Kabe finds Doge on the way out. So able to get rid of that Doom. Gonna just be a little bit of time here to breathe for A-Square Tengu. So Buddy will have that Kitsune rush. So getting the Doom inside of the rush here, you know, with that Tracer. But for them, you know, here's what I like to see. Use this Deadeye, right, if they're trying to push on in. Yep.
Yep. Also, what?
Yep.
I guess Kabe's hoping to, I mean, Doge's hoping to have landed and then power block that, maybe fill up the field of view of Kabe. Kind of gives that one over for free. Nicely done. Deadeye, a powerful defensive ultimate under the right circumstances here. Kabe able to really break that sort of push that Nu.age are putting together.
Yeah, they're going to use Rush, right? You back out around the corner, right? And then you end up using that Deadeye, and like they're going to get, you know, limited and no value out of it.
Sharp playing from the front right now. You hear the mag grenade go off. Definitely wasn't sent in the direction of the Tracer. Recall has to be used here. Doge is in and then out. Just as quick as he entered. Kabe able to use the shield there to avoid the radiating damage from that meteor strike, but the follow-up is what gets him in the end. Arclight is 1 HP, literally. And this is just some stall here from I Am Scared briefly. Now, how do Nu.age roll this into a last fight. Sound barrier could be crucial. They're dealing with a coalescence and sound barrier though from A-Square Tengu. The defenders have plenty of tools here.
Yeah, and Kave goes to the Torbjorn here late, and I'm scared he'll go over the Doomfist. So, sound barrier on both sides. The Torb going to provide that off-angle fire. Sound barrier comes down. That's a turret already gone from Sharp.
Both beats and the coalescence. The support ultimates now are gone. Pulse bomb here for Arclight. Just to the masonry. Oh, Sharp as he tries to blink across it. Dipto's able to find a focusing kill on KCR at the same time. Now we have that 4 versus 4. Arclight. Man, get a lottery ticket as well. Having a great time in this fight. Very low. The focusing beam, they're not able to claim any targets. It was the stickies. Zyra and Joy, they're going to be brought down. Dip barely staying alive. Forced back, but this Kitsune rush is pretty big. There's a lot of healing now available to this Echo. Then Nu.age get the map done.
Oh, he's sure blinking into the pulse bomb. I was like, oh man, is this it for A-Square Tengu? They just needed something to go their way, but Dip has other thoughts there on the Echo at the end. I mean, what, that's like a 3K there to close it out?
Yeah, look, I mean, the Kitsune rush timing is pretty good. Having haste as Echo, which is, you know, normally a hero where like you cycle your cooldowns, you burst someone down and then you have to wait a bit. Very powerful. And let's not forget, of course, that extra Ofuda healing available from the Kiriko during that moment. So nice little turnaround there. Arclight finding 2 very big kills on that defensive effort. And again, we get layered support ultimates, which isn't a huge issue, but if A-Square Tengu just maybe could have stretched that extra durability out over the course of that fight, things could have looked very different.
So we'll see what A-Square Tengu decides to do on offense here. I worry like playing the Cassidy and kind of what they've been doing without like really, maybe making some changes potentially. It's going to be difficult to get through the choke. So we'll see how they go about like kind of like circumventing, because like the Doom can come over the top of the subway car here, can go through. Like there's so many different ways to kind of flank and cause chaos.
Yeah, your sidelines just aren't fundamentally very good for Cassidy here. Bastion, something we, in the past saw a lot of to try and break through this choke. Wouldn't be a shock to see Kave drop that out. First the TP. And we have the Roadhog maintained here for I'm Scared, Matt.
Probably just a hook there with a TP. See if you can get somebody.
Back to the Ramatra.
Yep. Yeah, so and maybe you're like, look, like if Kave can get like 1 or 2, put down some damage, you're okay trading out his life and play around that. It's a Doge power block there in the middle.
There's not a lot to look at yet for Kave, and obviously Doge knows that he will try and engage on this.
These close quarter areas, so like, sure, maybe you can kind of like punish the Doom, with the hindrance and whatnot, but also it allows, like, if you don't, it allows him to really just start rolling.
Now, Doge would not fully commit to these chokes, right? You sort of slam and then you play around the corner just like this.
Oh, well, now the grenade's gone, right? So.
Yeah, but so is Buddy. Kiriko down. Kabu able to find something there and frankly looking for more. Doge copping hit after hit, and there's just not enough healing in the absence of the Kiriko. So there's nothing subtle about A-Square Tengu's approach here. Makabe providing the key picks to put them on the right track.
No, and they did a nice job of like wrapping around, right? Putting themselves in a position where the mag grenade going around the corner, maybe see if you can catch somebody and prevent them from getting in and get a touch. And actually nobody gets a touch, so that's going to be A-Square Tengu taking this first point.
That's a free ult charge as well for A-Square Tengu. I'm scared more than happy to capitalize on that. Getting to the nice number and pretty close to that annihilation already. Pretty important to try and snowball through this part of the map as well. A bit of an error there to lose the Kiriko when you, in theory, should have plenty of safety as defenders on that point A after folding back. Still going to try and make use of the Echo, which feels probably a bit more awkward now against the Cassidy.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you kind of have like this high ground on defense for Nu.age, but like ultimately their composition doesn't really like benefit from it, right? So Dip just flies in. He actually gets out of that vortex there, so able to make it back up the top.
He really committed to that Cassidy kill.
Yeah.
Enough though. He's built the duplicate. We'll see if he gets towards ultimate status here. Arclight's pulse there, no dice. Again, still trying to deal with Natsuki, who seems determined to ignore the Tracer at all costs, it would appear.
I mean, now A-Square Tengu is starting to get rolling, right? know they're going to be able to make it through underneath this bridge. You're going to have sound barrier and then potentially like a Deadeye. Like maybe, I know a little bit of a zoning Deadeye. They try and rush out of spawn. Like you're able to use that Deadeye. So potential here for A-Square Tengu to actually set a really good time here with the second checkpoint.
They're going to open the rush here, Matt. Going to try and shut down this power play from A-Square Tengu. Sound barrier's already expired here. Doge wants the Cassidy so bad, but he's too low now. But no one's paying him any attention. Can he get back towards some healing? Yes. Connects. Gets a little bit of shield. Looks like a swift step was headed over towards the Doomfist to keep Doge fighting fit. But Natsuki is going to be hit by that grenade. And there's the Deadeye from Kave. Saved it till late in the fight, but uses it to seal the deal.
Yes, Doge was so low, not in the line of sight of anybody in terms of healing. And yeah, it looks like they're almost like, don't shoot the Doom, don't pay attention to the Doom, right? Like, really focus on everybody else. Is that time Kave able to, you know, stay out of harm's way, pick up 2, and get to A-Square Tengu with the payload moving here. They have to get it across the line, but still has a much better, you know, chance in terms of time bank now.
Okay, Doge will drop down. Much like Winston, making use of that natural high ground to rotate those cooldowns even more comfortably. Once more, really hoping to land some of these rocket punches. The gameplay loop here, not complicated for Doomfist, but easily interrupted with many of these abilities. A duplicated Cassidy. Oh my goodness, that's disgusting. KCR absolutely smashed there. Even a Deadeye built? You have enough time for another one.
That was wild. I think he just kind of like duplicated the Cassidy just off of like necessity, right? He was really low in terms of healing. And was able to actually end up picking up a kill there out of it. So I believe he picks up KZR. So crazy scenario there where Dip's able to get some value out of that. Typically he's been going strictly for the Ramatra.
320 to play with here.
You gotta be able to complete the nap here.
Awkward. Ooh, awkward positioning there for I'm Scared. Dip needs to respect the Tracer to some degree, and they do. Arclight's forced into a recall now. Akad is actually on the backslide. Here's Doge once more. No connect on the rocket punch, but the coalescence might mean it's worthwhile to stay around. Dip hit with a mag grenade. Don't even know if Carbe was intending to connect with the Echo there, with the Doom right in his face. A little awkward this has become here for Nu.age. Now the rocket punch pretty good. KZR in trouble, but then Annihilation means Doge has thrown himself into the cactus patch. Still able to find Arclight with that seismic slam damage. Looks like I'm Scared. Not really sure how to proceed here. The Echo's back. The focusing beam is not tickling.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Tracer here, the Echo, and the Doom, like, all back. So you have to back up here. And what? If you win another fight of your Nu.age, this cart's going to get back to basically underneath this overpass, where, I mean, you're in a really difficult spot again. If you're A-Square Tengu, you have to take advantage of this position.
Carbe wants to push. Always be pushing. Pulse bomb there, not stuck to him, but close enough to take him down to half HP. All of Nu.age respect the Deadeye. Back away, and it's going to be a sound barrier from Natsuki second. I don't know if I'm Scared actually benefit from that sound barrier at all. Sharp's able to run Carbe down now. We are below half of the time that A-Square Tengu came into the space of the map with. Now the rocket punch here, Arclight able to get Sharp with a backhand before he recalls away. But it's going to take a lot more than that to get the attackers on a collision course with the checkpoint.
Yeah, I mean, they've been great up until this point, A-Square Tengu, but now feels like all Nu.age is able to control some of this high ground. And okay, now we play the Zarya. I like this. This is kind of reminiscent of what we saw from Twisted Minds the other day. So, gonna play the Zarya. You have a Moira here very close to Coalescence. You can play a little bit more defensive.
Take the high ground by force here. This is definitely another slow composition. The Zarya needs to be careful of maintaining those bubbles and not overspending them. Nothing you can do about that one. Maybe a bubble for Carbe would have been nice, but Dip has the combo and has the burst damage. Doge gets slurped to smithereens there, and here's a Coalescence build up, but you lose the Zarya. I don't know how you come back from this. This ultimate feels awful when you lack that main tank.
Yeah, and I think it's just like, I'm Scared, but like was a little bit out of like line of sight of Kabe, so not able to get a bubble, and then right there, not in line of sight with the Coalescence to get any healing on your Zarya. So, two times things just seem to be kind of like unraveling a little bit here for A-Square Tengu. It's pretty tough considering, for a lot of this map on offense, they've looked pretty good outside of the last 3 minutes or so.
Has the Zarya switch caused this?
No. I mean, you've played the Zarya for 2 fights, right? One you got absolutely just kind of like rolled off of a Kitsune rush, and then the other you kind of Cassie got picked off right away, right? So I haven't really seen like enough sample size.
Nu.age in a great position right now, and that is massive. A huge kunai connection headshot, removing the Moira from the fight before it begins. And so for Sharp, it's all too easy. With I'm Scared as low as he was, no way to keep your tank in the fight off, just Lucio and some fumes. A-Square Tengu come to a screeching halt. After having 4 minutes to play for their last phase of the map, they advance about 30 meters.
Yeah, that's one they would probably love to, the end of that one have back, right? Maybe you need to make some of those switches a little bit earlier, but 4+ minutes on the clock and then, not able to complete it. That is a tough. A big shout out to Nu.age for able to like turn up there on defense, but feels like A-Square Tengu, that's the one you got to win, right? Like, if you're looking at like maps in this series, map 1 I think was like a lot of Nu.age. That map you sort of figure out a little bit more, right? You have a lot of time to complete there at the end, and to not do it, that is a tough one.
And A-Square Tengu now looking down the barrel of an elimination here from OWCS for stage 1. This is an elimination match here, and Nu.age looking just a little bit better right now, and I think we've sort of talked about it. Don't think the Cassidy's the problem, right? I think Kabe is a standout player actually on this particular roster, and there have been many occasions in which he's been able to generate some serious value and momentum for A-Square Tengu when it really counts. But it's the rest of the composition, it's the rest of the play style that definitely has us questioning A-Square Tengu's ability to hang in this series.
I mean, I think they've been able to hang. It's just that like the speed of play that Nu.age is playing with, it's something that the game like probably feels like it's moving at like a lightning speed for some of the players, right? With like the kind of coordination and the speed that Nu.age is playing with, where A-Square Tengu, they're able to get a bunch of fights to go their way. It's not like, hey, we're just going to go in there and lose every single fight. They are able to win a lot of fights. I mean, they had 4+ minutes to complete Midtown. It's just in certain situations, right? I feel like Nu.age is playing, close to perfect in some of the scenarios where A-Square Tengu is falling apart.
I think like a lot of how Midtown played out was sort of the tension between how each part of the map favored either the Echo or the Cassidy under some of those circumstances. Because again, that natural high ground that, we saw Dip just constantly just drop down off and unload cooldowns and then fly back. It happened time and time again. Doge was able to do much the same thing. That second phase of the map, coincidentally, the phase in which we saw A-Square Tengu breeze through was one that was really open, didn't have that sort of natural high ground you could drop down easily with, and had like really good sight lines for the Cassidy. So not every part of these maps are going to benefit your Cass. New Queen Street, probably not a great one for it. Just the sight line's a little too long to deal with that damage drop off that he can present. But hey, it wouldn't be unheard of.
I also think that you see the map selection. This is a Nu.age map selection where like the Doom is awesome here on New Queen Street, right? So like you could pick the maps to your strength. Where this is look, I said it. I think the one you probably needed to win there for keep the series like moving forward. In the right direction for A-Square Tengu may have been there on Midtown, but also maybe they've seen some stuff on Midtown that they now feel like they can bring into New Queen Street to really take advantage of.
Yeah, no shock at all to see this particular setup from Nu.age. And maybe A-Square Tengu feel like they're just really priced into making this one composition work, right? We're going to keep talking about the Cassidy here, just because this map is one where he's not as commonly brought in on. So, there's going to be a real question of like how you make the most of it, how you make the most of these like vantage points, these longer sidelines, because as powerful as Cass is at that mid-range, the damage fall-off is pretty considerable. He does need to put himself to a degree in harm's way against the highly mobile tank to get value.
Yeah, and you see A-Square Tengu kind of like moving forward in like a kind of like a deathfall. I actually think Dip probably had no idea that they were going to push that far around the corner, but Arclight 2 is starting to come alive on the Tracer.
The huge opener, staking your claim to this sort of higher ground platform. See that damage fall off there? It's hard for Kabe to really threaten Natsuki on such a long line. be on the move here. Doge just going to charge some power block here.
Let's put a stop to that.
It's a little bit for free. And again, Sharp has to take some like fairly roundabout methods if he wants to contest Tube, for example. Drop down after some of those buildings. Here's the charge. Okay.
The range on that.
Connect and force the fade. I mean, now you keep the pressure down on the Moira. Doge, though, maybe has eyes elsewhere. Kave's brought down by Buddy. This could be dangerous now. You force everyone to play inside this small room. Power block comes up at a good time. They might give you an empowered punch just on virtue of them desperately trying to get out. That's pretty nasty.
I mean, he's just, you know, the damage reduction just right in front of the Ramatra in that small room. I mean, that's just mean. His I-Square just moves out of the way. He's like, oh yeah, you can punch Lucio. It's totally fine.
Well, very quickly. Nu.age back in control, and they push very far forward here with this Doom and Echo. I think Doge is just chilling there underneath the balcony. They don't know. They don't know he's there. How do you play from this position? A big jump in from behind. Nice seismic slam there. Hit with the mag grenade, but Doge always has the get out of jail free card in the form of that Meteor Strike. Kitsune Rush thrown down here by Nu.age. Doge a little low. Now he's going to pull the plug and get back in. Dip another Cassidy duplication, but Sharp is the one coming away with the honors here. And the duplicated Deadeye finding two. The DPS of Nu.age are all over this one.
Man, Dip, it seems like regardless of who he duplicates, comes up with some sick clips. Is right there. Double Deadeye and then a kill at the end, and then Sharp. That had to have been like a pulse bomb that stuck to like Kabe or KZR, and then they just kind of like moved into each other.
Sharp's already on the wrap here, forces an early recall. Means Arclight now has to be careful about contesting that position at all. Natsuki got caught in the front line there by some Nemesis form punches, which happens awfully often in fairness. And Nu.age are starting to fold back a little.
It's a dodge. There's another the Doomfist there. Head up to the skybox, just looking over the top.
Getting a checkpoint so early, Matt.
Yeah, it's
really like 1 or 2 fights. Sick.
Maybe he thought that there was going to be a push.
Maybe trying to just create space here to push that bot forward.
Yeah.
Give I'm Scared a little bit of room to breathe. Still, they're going to have to deal with the problem that they're playing from the low ground here. Grenade is good. Sound barrier, though, even better for Doge. Now we can stick around and really get his hands dirty. Just repositioning. I'm Scared there for a moment. Has to have a feeling about this Annihilation being in play. But Doge is able to turn his attention towards Arclight and finish that kill. Sharp is absolutely dominating this map.
Yeah, you know, at the start, right, Arclight ends up picking up those 2 kills, but now the DPS players on Nu.age are just really turning up. I mean, Dip with 2 towards the end, Sharp just kind of like, you know, blinking all over the battlefield, taking players out left and right. So Nu.age, they'll actually have this Kitsune Rush here in the duplicate to kind of like push upwards towards the finish line.
Kabe sees Doge. Satisfying as the headshot is. I mean, there's great pressure, to be fair, on the Doom here. Doge playing in neutral territory, not using any defensive cooldowns. Kabe really trying to deny that from him.
You lose your Echo really early as Arclight picks him up, so have to back out as Echo's a large portion of just, you know, damage, and then also just finishing players off, right? Doge and Sharp put down some damage, have to leave, then the Echo comes over the top, finishes players off, but that's a Kitsune Rush, and that is just devastating, right? Like, you're just kind of like forced to pretty much walk right into it as Doge gonna cut off KZR here.
I mean, again, if you are remotely good as Nu.age at playing around the speed boost cooldown, you will always be able to force like a good fight against A-Square Tengu inside that Kitsune Rush.
Yeah. So what, A-Square Tengu, I mean, you have the Annihilation, but there's so much mobility from Nu.age, like they should be able to just kind of like get away from it.
That's brutal. Kabe. Oh, okay, nicely done. I think actually avoids the radiating damage there by just being around the corner. Eventually, though, that Cassidy kill does get
the Moira
70 and counting.
The Moira duplicate there to just provide some extra healing to Doge.
We used to see this all the time, right?
Gonna get coalescence,
Ana duplication for that extra bionate, and you'd also be in mid-air after the dupe, right?
Yeah.
So you'd get a really good angle on that, which is something rare for Ana. Don't ever let her fly, Blizzard. That'll be a little bit ridiculous.
I think you're just trying to farm up beat for both teams here.
Yep, yeah, taking too much damage, I think, from the balcony itself. When they drop down, even under the flat cooldown. There were easy pickings for Arclight, who's able to find another 2k in this fight.
Yeah, but, you know, you have the sound barriers coming in for the next one. The Deadeye's not, you know, the Deadeye's pretty good to, you know, maybe deter people coming in. With the Kitsune Rush, not with sound barrier. You feel like they'll still be aggressive here behind that ultimate.
Again, you mentioned that they were being pretty desperately farmed in the prior fight and then held on to for actually longer than we maybe expected. Now, though, this seems like a great opportunity for A-Square Tengu to push their advantage, or at least trying to get closer to parity. That first checkpoint still remains to be taken by the team in red. And here's that coalescence. Kabe doesn't love this angle, and I don't blame him. Everybody playing from behind the tram there. Really hard to draw a bead on Buddy or Natsuki, but Doge gets caught. Trader, though, with Dip's able to find their focusing, being killed there on that. Cassidy and Sharps looming dangerously here with a pulse bomb. Should A-Square Tengu linger within those close quarters too long? Arclight punished for pushing past the line of scrimmage. And I think A-Square Tengu realizing they have to get out.
Yeah, I mean, they're just stuck in a really difficult spot, right? Because they need to get bot progress in the worst way. But there's no sense in, like, you know, you're going to have the players turn Nu.age back so fast. There's no sense in pushing it players down. So, but now you're back in a spot where, okay, like all that, you know, progress we just made using some of those ultimates to move forward means absolutely nothing, right?
Doge, not sure if he really intended to be here. Mag Grenade kept him under the thumb for a while, but Dip gets a double with a focusing beam. You cannot ask for much more than that. Meliozu had nowhere to go, either forwards into the waiting arms of the Echo or backwards into the Doom with the Meteor Strike. They chose the latter, but the result, it's the same. Once again, the body's in the hands of Nu.age, and it's headed uphill.
Yeah, the Doom goes in early. They kind of like use all their cooldowns on A-Square Tengu to kind of deal with it, and then he just Meteor Strikes up, Kitsune Rush underneath, and then there comes the Tracer and the Echo to just clean everybody up. As looks like this is Empowered Punch just lurking on the side here.
Yeah, those Chancellor there, though, didn't really feel like he wanted to jump into the fray entirely. Now there's a Junker Queen in play for I'm Scared. Definitely a bit more of a prickly prospect for Doge to ponder. But again, with such a lead here, Nu.age can take their time. Find a way to start to drag at the healing resources, and that is beautiful. Kabe caught by the stick there of Sharp. Doesn't have recall available, but says, I'll just take another kill here and get more than just mine.
Yeah, I mean, he gets two, right? You know, he gets his, but Arclight's had a really good map, even though they may not win. Comes up with another Pulse Bomb kill. Just trying to do anything he can to keep the bot from moving forward, but A-Square Tengu will fall again with 1:47 on the clock and counting. The bot still moving forward here for Nu.age.
You gotta feel that Doge ignores I'm Scared to a great degree, unless he's maybe hit with a knife and is forced to face the Queen. That's beautiful from Kabe. That's why we've seen them on the Cassidy. Well, they're mad. I love this. Very satisfying shot after shot as Doge is brought down very quickly. Kabe with two. And that will force Nu.age to regroup.
You see the power of the Cassidy right there. You get in that like medium short range, right? You know, two shots, you're done. Now it'll be A-Square Tengu gets that bot back, moving forward. Wonder if this, we haven't seen like the biggest effect of the Junker Queen yet. I think obviously providing the shout, a little bit of extra HP for everybody. But then also being able to like, maybe you land a knife onto Doge. You don't have to just solely rely on like, the mag grenade, right? You land a knife, you just grip him back into the team. An axe, right? You're starting to heal off of that. Maybe it's a little bit better.
Yeah, there's a lot of threat now for Doomfist to deal with. Especially there, when you're power blocking, you can't dodge the knife. You're getting knives. So then you might come out of power block and get dragged back towards the Junker Queen again. I like the switch here. Pulse, Sharp able to avoid that one. The rest of Nu.age heads upstairs and they get out of the radius of the Pulse. Duplicate here. End it for Dip. Meteor Strike, he sees the Junker Queen. Again, Doge does not want to take a fight there, but Dip, more than happy to, with the focusing beam cooldown once again available. Arclight getting removed. The sticky bombs constantly finding their target from Dip, whose Echo has been absolutely disgusting. Not only his Echo, but any hero he duplicates, he's been sublime on.
Yeah, with 2 seconds on the clock, that will be all as Nu.age with a clean sweep here over A-Square Tengu, where they had their moments, A-Square Tengu, but I think just that like Doom Echo Tracer just way too difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and to a great degree, Nu.age didn't really care what compositions that A-Square Tengu were coming out with. Whether it was Ramatra, Zarya, Junker Queen, there wasn't really enough going on to bother Doge. I would say in like a longer game, maybe he doesn't want to play Doomfist, ad nauseum against like the Junker Queen now, because it's like mag grenade, you power block, you get knifed. It's like, it's hard to actually be where you need to put pressure down on people. So I like the switch. It's just way too late in the day for that.
It'll be I'm really interested because like obviously the winner of that match that we just watched with which is Nu.age will play Team Peps. That was the Group A first round of losers. So we saw them play against Twisted Minds the other day, where Twisted Minds ended up kind of like running some of the Zarya Cassidy to deal with like the aggression that Peps was bringing. So we might see just like an all out just like doom die fest in that match when it comes up.
You're muted in Discord, Zoe. I'm telling you this time.
I was just gonna keep nodding my head like
I'm being a good friend this time.
Yeah, you're being a homie this time around. Listen, I'm like eating, chatting, like doing all the things. I just didn't want to bother you guys during the cast. Either way, I'm back. Now you can hear me. Check.
Yep. I know if I've said something funny because I can hear Zoe laughing even when she's like even when we're casting. So
yeah, that's why I started muting myself.
No.
She just laughs at your stuff because
I need the ego.
She feels bad. Nobody else does.
Bangers in there. I need you to know that's all I'm saying. But yeah,
Matt just
he's not a homie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he was actually funny, I would laugh.
Your sense of humor sucks, though. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of sucks. Anyway, nothing funny about this. This is good, honest Overwatch, Zoe.
It really was. And I think two players that you kept on highlighting from one from each side. Kabe, obviously, from A-Square Tengu. When he was given the space, he did make it work. I feel like he put in a lot of good stuff here for his team, and it's definitely someone we should keep on having an eye on.
Big time. I mean, and I think that was one of the most striking on Midtown, right? Because as Kabe is on the offensive side, right? As soon as we get into this second phase of the map, it's over in seconds, right? Dip, by the way, did a pretty sick Kabe impression there with his duplicate. But in general, yeah, when Cassidy has the room to work with, and Kabe just doesn't really miss a whole lot of those shots, if the sightlines are there, you're going to be in good shape. When you're not, when you're in like the last phase of sort of Midtown, when the Doom keeps dropping down on you, filling up your field of view and sort of power blocking a lot of your shots, that's when it feels kind of bad. So I like the Cassidy, but we can all admit that like he lacks a little bit of flexibility, and when the map doesn't play to the Cassidy, it can be hard to succeed.
Indeed. Obviously, on the other side, I think we saw a lot of great performances. Do.age mechanically, just a very gifted player singular, and I think that showed. Yeah, as you said, Matt, I'm very interested to see how they will stack up against Team Peps, who honestly, they got shut out pretty badly in their very first match that we got to watch, so I hope that they can run it back, and I hope they did their homework watching this very game right now. I'm not sure if we have an interview. We do have an interview, and Dip is ready, so let's get straight to it. Thank you so much, production, and welcome to the show, Dip. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Of course.
Yeah, a W, that's always a good way to start it off. Talk a little bit about the preparations heading into this. How familiar were you with the players on the other side?
I mean, we scouted their comms, so we knew they were going to run RAM, so Doom's obviously insane into RAM, and that's the comm we were one-tricking, so it was pretty good for us anyway.
You have history with Team Peps. Dip, tell us a bit about that. Is it like a rivalry? You're looking forward to playing against them again? Like, I think you like top 4 contenders summer series, right? Yeah, but you were benched.
Yeah,
is that right?
I was benched indeed, actually, but now we lost twice to them, so we have to win the last rematch now. It's going to top 8. That'd be very funny if they beat us twice.
3 times the charm.
Yeah, exactly.
Third time's the charm. What do you guys have to do differently, you think, against Team Peps to kind of get over that hurdle this next time?
I think better fight planning, and we're good. Just gotta get better value out of our ultimates, because they had better value out of theirs on our last match, and I think we can definitely make it.
That's good. That's the confidence you need heading into that match where everything is going to be on the line. We're very excited to see more of you and the team. One last question before I let you go, though, because opinions are split here. Is it Nu.age or Nu.age?
Well, you could say both. In French, you would say Nu.age, but you can say Nu.age if you want, I think.
Fine. Just, yeah, we're just basically you didn't answer now. So what do you guys prefer? How do you call this?
I mean, We call Nu.age, I think, because most of us have English accent, I guess. So Nu.age,
Fine, fine. Saperlipopette. I was excited for a French name in there. I'll stick to Nu.age. How about that? We'll make it work. Dip, thank you so much for joining. Best of luck in your next match.
Thank you for having me.